It's the Soul Fantasy Show, Soul Fan Show. Hey, it's the Soul Fantasy Show live for June 14th, 2020. Going over the top picks, plays, and suds for New York versus Washington, Draftkings, and also Fanduel action. If you already haven't, please subscribe to this channel. All right, so we got Washington and New York today. I like Washington players a lot, and it's usually pretty hard to roster New York guys, but today, right on top, we have Bradley Beal, 35% chance to get 30 to 45 fantasy points, and a 40% chance to get 45 to 60. No shot getting under 15, 7% 15 to 30. I got him getting anywhere between 45 and we would say 63 fantasy points. Here are some of Bradley Beal's stats. 2,000 minutes played, plus minus of negative 201. 1,300 field goals attempted, 593 made, 242 rebounds with 347 assists. And he had 11% turnover ratio. His last in the real season were 61, 40, 50, 50, 50, 60, 70. Man, this guy is good. The last sim he played was last week, which he didn't do that good. So I'm expecting a bounce back game for him. And here's a quick little newsreel for you.
Late scratch. Rudy Gobert with an illness is out.
Just goes over like a little thing that NBA players have been talking about, like an insurance policy. So go ahead and watch that. We'll get back to action with lineups.
Positive for the coronavirus. Some very sobering news. The NBA has decided to suspend game play. Who knows what's going to happen going forward?
This is for the NBA, and I think all of professional sports. This is uncharted territory.
3 months after the forced shutdown, the words that NBA fans have longed to hear that the league is planning to come back beginning at the end of July in Orlando were certainly welcome for everybody, including Michael Grange and Alvin Williams. And Michael, right away, you were all over the schedule once it was determined who the Raptors would play in the final 8 games before the playoffs. What's your opinion?
Raptors are in a tough position. They have a 3-game lead on Boston with 8 games to play. Normally, that would seem safe. But when you look at the Raptors' quality of opposition, they've got the Lakers, they've got the Bucks, they've got the Nuggets, they've got the Heat. The average winning percentage of the teams they're playing is .654. That's like a 54-win team. That's like playing the Nuggets or the Celtics for 8 straight games. Meanwhile, on the other side of it, the Celtics, they have a number of games against teams, 2 games against the Wizards, who aren't going to make the playoffs, another game against Portland, who's not in the playoffs right now. The best team they play is they have 1 game against the Bucks, 1 game against the Raptors, but overall the quality of their opponents is about is a 40-win team. And so, when you look at that, can the Raptors hang on to a 3-game lead? You'd like to hope so, but if they don't, instead of opening against Orlando or Nets, teams that are well under 500, it's going to be Indiana, it could be Miami, it could be the Sixers. Really, really good teams. It's a vast difference between the quality of those potential first-round opponents.
Well, Alvin, let's play devil's advocate for a bit, considering that a 3-game lead with 8 to play should be safe. Regardless of what Michael said, we don't know. But playing tougher opponents, maybe is that better to get you set for what comes in the playoffs?
I think it's always a good thing when you get a chance to challenge yourself and you see what your team is made of when you're playing against top quality teams. And I think the one thing, all of these teams, they're pretty much on a even playing field because they've all had the same break, they've all had the same stipulations. So, usually at this time, you're trying to play for that home court advantage. You're trying to play for that advantage, which no team is going to have because of the circumstances. So when you're looking at it, of course, you want to put yourself in a position where you have games in the playoffs where you can just start getting the momentum and you don't have to go against the top seeded teams, and that's what you're fighting for. But, at this time, getting on that floor, being prepared in the playoff time when that intensity is going to be there anyway, it really doesn't matter who you're playing early on in the earlier stages.
Hey, Michael, if that gap doesn't close in the first couple of games, do you expect the Raptors to use their depth as a way to get everybody slowly back in so there's not more of a risk of an injury in those first 8 games?
They'll have to, and the Raptors have the luxury of having that depth, and everyone's healthy, as Alvin's pointing out, so they don't have to trot guys out for 40 minutes a night. You have Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry healthy together so it seems like the first time in ages, and so that's a big factor. I think that's the Raptors' real kind of weak point in the sense of they can't run Kyle Lowry into the ground, especially if you're going to be playing every other night for potentially, if this all goes well, 10 weeks. So you definitely want to have the benefit of being able to spread those minutes around at the point guard spot.
And Alvin, people concerned about players playing in front of no crowds, but we just saw in The Last Dance another revisit of that Dream Team scrimmage and how quickly it got ugly and they got after it. How soon do you think for the players will the adjustment come that you're trying to beat the guy in front of you and you realize there's a championship at stake down the line?
Yeah, it is. It's funny because you don't have the crowd and you don't have your home court and you don't have the opposition.
All right, that was a little news thanks to Basketball Central on the concerns that the players have about the season that's gonna happen. All right there. Secondly, and most popularly, he's gonna be the chalk of the day, the sole chalky mofo of the day. Julius Randle is gonna be in 90% of lineups. Julius Randle, had 2,000 minutes, plus minus 244, negative. 463 field goals made, 622 rebounds, 198 assists. Now, Bradley Beal is the sole stud of the day. Julius Randle is the sole chalk play of the day. Okay, then I'm just going to go straight down to Troy Brown. He's going to be my third option. He has a 60% chance to get 15 to 30 fantasy points. Chalk him in right there. Mitchell Robinson as well. 60% chance to get 15 to 30 fantasy points. All right, that's a good option. So now he has Rui, Napier, Bryan. Okay. Napier is at 100. One fantasy point per minute. All right. 23, 36, 26, 17. Expect one of them at 4 times value. Now you got Thomas Bryan, who a lot of people will like to play just off the facts that he usually does well when he's completely healthy. He can put up good games. He's a little sluggish and slow lately. And now, so Peyton, expect Peyton to get 39 fantasy points. He has a 50% chance to do so. Expect that or more. Peyton is the sole sleeper of the day. Morris Wagner, 9 times value for 2,200. Chalk him in for 20 fantasy points. All right, and we got Frank Nicolala, 10% value. Mahami and Peyton have high values. All right. Now down here, some players that are a little bit of a risk. Bertans is very expensive today. If he only gets 27 fantasy points, it's only going to be 2.8 times value. He's getting a fantasy point per minute. Here's some of the possibilities he will get: 37, 41, 15, 21, 28, 17, something around there. 50% chance to get 15 to 30 fantasy points as well, and he has a higher percent chance to get 30 to 45, but no shot to get over 46 fantasy points or so. There's like maybe a 3 to 5% chance he gets that 51 you see in there. That's why his DD is so low, because he doesn't have a big shot to get his make 5 times value, which we love to chase. So if I go to Flex and show you the usage rates real quick, let me just go there. All right, so the usage rate: Bradley Beal 35% usage rate, Randall 28. So we'll go down in order. Barrett 24, Smith 18, Troy Brown 17, Mitchell Robinson 13, Roy 19, Shabazz Napier 20, Bryant 18, Peyton 20, Morris Wagner 19, Frank Nakalama is only at 15, and then they go down to Bobby Portis, who I haven't mentioned, has a pretty high usage rate. who is very expensive. Bertans is also very expensive. So there's some high prices there. So these are potentially the accurate prices that you see here. All right, Gary Payton is only a stack. I don't know if he's even going to play. Bradley Beal is $11,000. All right. So the last three for Beal was 62, 40, and 53. He had 38, 35, and 38 minutes. His minutes are up there. They're very good. All right.
You still have time to do this? I'm waiting.
All right, here's a few lineups for you today. Sorry about that interruption. All right, MVP, I'm going with Beal. I don't care. I might throw the chalk in at Randall, possibly. Beal, Randall. You know what I mean? All right, so say I want to just go Beal. So let's just keep Bryan. I'm gonna put Roy in there. Nah, let me just put Mitchell Robinson in there. Let me put let me get Beal out of here so I can move him around. So if I go Thomas Bryant, I go Beal, Payton stays in, get rid of Napier, and then put Randall. And look at this, it's starting to come to a good, solid halt. All right, there we go. Now I'll just keep it like that. And here's a couple more lineups for you. All right, it's the Soul Fan Show.